Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy. P-Funk, thinking right out here in the lab. Doing what I do. I got a good lesson. We about to do part two. Let's hit it. Writers 25 rules to live by. Storyteller, story with a message. Message in the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in to receive them. We got a good thing going. Let's rock. Right Thinker's mission, and I'm on it, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment any means necessary. We're using the book today. Right Thinker's way of life through mental and spiritual discipline employed daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. That's my personal goal, to get all my right thinkers to do just that. Know thyself. And if you tune in to check me out, that should be your goal, because that's what I do for you. That's my goal and mission. Knowing thyself. It's a question. It's rhetorical, but you should have the answer. If not, tune in. I'll help you out with that. That's what I do for you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard that. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You teach them. That's what I do. I do for you. Stay tuned. I got you. I appreciate you too. A person who knows not and believes that they know make a difference. Dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows but knows not that they know not good. They're asleep spiritually. I'm a spiritual alarm clock. I can wake them up with knowledge of self. That's what I do. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons, they reside in you. Right thinkers know that self. Into my eye. It's true. I ended up explaining to you about how you would, excuse me, what was I? Okay. We talk about the animals look like the pet owners. We just finished up with the most animals, and most animals, watch this, are treated in the world as what? Possessions, slaves, sources of food, etc. Don't be an animal. Don't live on your beastly nature. Rise your consciousness and become a better you. Let's do this now. We're doing Heru and Set as two personalities in one. I'll show you the picture. Okay? You got Heru on one side, and you got Set on the other side, but they occupy the same body. Okay? So from the neck up, it's your call. Ego, higher self. Set, Haru. If you're right thinking, the goal is to become Haru. Okay, you are set. I'm trying to raise your conscious level from set. You know who you are. You should. But now I'm gonna get you to know who you really are by being your best self and knowing you are Haru. That's right. The figure here I just showed you was Heru set as two personalities in one. They mean they occupy the same body. The composite divinity Heru and Set in one personality. Again, same body, choice. As explained earlier, as an ordinary worldly human being, your soul, aka eternal and immortal, has made it with what? Neptat, nature. Your spirit came into matter, the yin and the yang. Okay, that represents matter. Okay, female aspect. Watch this. In other words, worldly desires or mortality. We call it nature. That's what Neptune represents. She's an aspect of your character. You gotta be mindful of that. Now watch this. Now, in a sense, you have taken on, watch this, the role of Set. I told you, I want you to be going to become Haru. We all set. Why? Because we have ego. We identify ourselves with our ego. So you are that from the beginning. That's why he starts at the bottom and you got to raise past him. His first problem in Haru is set, your ego. You got to start with him. Conquer him. That's why it's a big deal. So understand that. You won't get nowhere if you don't conquer your ego. So here you go. Now, in a sense, you have taken on the divinity role of Set, the divinity who represents, watch this, egoism. He's not a bad guy. He ain't the devil. No, he represents your self identity with yourself. The I, without the am. Just I. That's Set. Hope you didn't understand. I know some of us are, but some of y'all, I'm trying to break it down. Hope I'm really driving it home so you get the point. Don't misunderstand it or misinterpret. Set for, oh, I'm set. That's not a good thing. So you have awareness of yourself within the context of what mortality and worldly desires, and not as an immortal or infinite being. You don't have knowledge of your higher self. Set don't know who he is. The scripture also demonstrates that what? This combination of Heru in you and the Set in you is a source of conflict, aka holy war. I did a lesson on that. That's again your lower self fighting your higher self. The conflict that must be resolved. They can't go on. They can't continue like that. Okay, they got to come to a head. The composite image of Heru and Set is called Herphy, Herfy, and that is, or the two personalities. We all have two personalities, and you identify with the one. The quickest, the easiest one. Set, jump right in. Yeah, I know me. I am. Rah, rah, rah. Calm down. Calm down. Okay, two personality, and it illustrates in a what iconographic way that Heru is afflicted with what an altered personality, your higher self. Alter meaning every hero had to disguise his alter ego. Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Superman, Clark Kent. See where we're going with that? Batman, Bruce Wayne. So everybody has an alter ego that they have to either suppress or keep under wraps until when needed, when called upon. I personate the Hulk. Another lesson, but watch this. Now, your alter personality. He must do battle with what? That personality in order to separate himself from it. You can't serve two masters. To throw off what? The unrighteousness of your personality, which is what? Your ego. The ego means that you edge God out. He's not involved in the ego concept. Why? You edged him out. You on your own. That's why he said, I am. I am you and me as one. That I am. Please understand that y'all say the phrases, don't know what they mean. You walk around slinging the verses, ain't got a clue what they mean. Do some studying. That's all you got to do. If you don't know what they mean, ask. The preacher should tell you. He take a phrase and write a whole hour sermon on it. I'm going to give you 2 or 3 pages of information. So it's a little different. That's why I say I teach and not preach. I can ride this Heru thing till the cows come in. But I'm trying to give you understanding and information so you can become Heru, not go off my praises of him. He, of course, watch this. He, of course, attains ultimate victory in the form of the Ujat. That's the eye, the all-encompassing. The disc, the sun disc, the 2 rays on the side, and the wings. That's the all-encompassing God. When Heru go into that form, he's unbeatable. Sound familiar? All right, watch this. In the form of the Ujat. Ujat, okay? Heru, that's him. But the journey of self-discovery, listen to this. This is what we are on a psycho-spiritual journey. It's a psychological concept. It's a spiritual understanding that we're on as human beings. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. So we got to have the self-discovery walk through life. And watch this. The struggle for control over what? Your personality is the lengthy and arduous one requiring much attention and repeated effort. I mean, constantly you have to prepare and practice daily to perfect or become a self-master, master of oneself through due diligence, studying, and performing the deeds. That's how it's done. Ain't no shortcuts, ain't no easy way. And like the Jesus Christ said, ain't no other way to the Father but through me. I agree 100% if you understand the concept. I'm going to do a symbology lesson to give you the symbology behind stuff they're saying, because a lot of people don't really get, they sound good. Don't have a clue what they mean. So I'm going to help you with that one. That's the whole point about getting to God. You ain't got to believe God. Do the right thing. Show your honesty and earnest to serve and do and serving him, and you'll know him for yourself. Then you'll try to tell other people the gospel is the good news. I know God. I'm sharing the gospel. My good news is enlightening you to be yourself, and you'll know God for yourself. I ain't trying to tell you how good God is. No. I know I want you to know him for yourself. That's what right thinking philosophy is about. Now let's deal with Set. Set is like an appendage. Okay, yeah. A popular term. How about this? A more better say, monkey on your back. That's an addiction. If you got something that don't mean you no good and you can't stop it, that's the monkey in your back concept. Okay? Monkey in your back would not be, watch this, an inappropriate reference, even though Set is what? An illusionary divinity. He has great power in what? Generation. That is, watch this, the power to generate what? Entanglements, lead you astray, desires, and unrighteous acts, etc., which lead a person to much what? Expenditures of time, pursuing futile opportunities, useless things, in search of what? Happiness through them, and thereby eventually leading to what? Obvious frustration and suffering. We all have expectations that was let down. We all put people in position to what? Hurt us, harm us, and do all these things. Set, watch this, has that power because the deluded soul, the ignorant person, has given that power to him. Your ego, you turn it over to him. Believing in him, trusting in him, that is believing in what? Egoistic things and indulging in feeding the desires of the ego over a period of lifetime. I keep doing this. I'm pointing to my old man. He lived on his terms. That's not always good. He never rose to the conscious level. He lived over ego. He was an egoistic, ego-driven person. He didn't have a clue. I know that. Why? I lived with him. I know him. I know him well. He was all ego. He never got enlightened. He never got past his waist. He like, okay? You can't live off it. With moderation, spiritual and self-discipline, you can moderate what it is that you really like and put in perspective, and you can handle that. But being perverted with it and turning people into your little moving on. That's Set. That's ego. That's all pleasure. That's all just me. I'm not that dude. Set is to what? Be overcome. How? Through Maya, virtue, and through what? Shabbat, which is spiritual discipline and the study and the use of spiritual philosophy, instructions, teachings, and education of the wisdom philosophy from Set. I got her book right here somewhere. Okay? Yeah, there we go. And it's right here. I got 3 books in one. I got 3 books open. I go from information to information to make sure I'm getting some information to the people who in search of information. So I'm doing my job. Okay, let's go. I'm almost done. I got another page. I got a good point here. I'm trying to make it's coming up on it. Now, Set had to be taken out. Now, as long as Set remains, again, watch this. As long as Set remains as an independent aspect of your personality, outside of the control of the conscious higher personality, Heru, of the aspirant promoting desires based on what? Ignorance of who? Your higher self. A lot of people don't know who Heru is. I didn't want to introduce you to him because everybody be thinking they're Heru and ain't got a clue who and what it's all about. You need to learn that, and you'll become that by your due diligence and your lifestyle that you choose. And watch this. He's ignorant of the higher self. Why? There will be conflict. Those desires thwart your spiritual progress. If you're a preacher and you preaching the word and your personal desires take over, then you got a problem. Set is running your show, not Jesus. Y'all use Christ. I got a problem with that. So it should lead you to do what? The right thing. If whatever you use and get you to do the right thing, I applaud that 100%. That's right thinking. I just use philosophical Egyptian concept. So everybody have a concept. Everybody have a choice. Just pick one that works for you and then practice it. So you got to do. Whatever you choose, you got to put it to effect. So moving on. Your spiritual, that will stop. Egoism will stop your spiritual progress. And there would be what? Confusion and most importantly, failure in the mind and consequently also in what? Your spiritual practice. You will not be true to your practice. You will falter. Oh, I got weak. I fell out. The devil got me. Or whatever excuse you use not to do what you do, that's it. Okay? That's the Tanian concept. Watch this now. When Heru is eventually is victorious, when Heru eventually is victorious over Set, then you gain, watch this, control over your egoistic self, him, Set, Set's great power is now harnessed. I told you I use Set to motivate me when I'm tired, motivate me when I don't feel like getting up sometimes. That's when Set is used because I harness the concept of him and I keep him and I use him, watch this, and put to task, watch this, for spiritual practices. I understand my ego. I control it. I work it to my advantage. Watch this. Now, this is strongly symbolized in two specific iconographs. What? The one of Set fighting against the serpent of chaos on behalf of Ra, and the one of the two divinities, Heru and Set, tying the knot of unity of the higher and lower self, upper and lower Egypt. Lower Egypt, lotus flower. Upper Egypt, the papyrus plant, aka, or we call it Sma Tawi or Sma symbol. And the below they're showing this. I like the shot here. This is them. Okay, that's Ra, Heru, and Tahuti on the boat with Ra. He's sitting on the throne. And who's fighting? That's Set. That's your ego. That's the dog in you. They tell you it ain't the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight the dog. It's Set the biggest dog you ever gonna have in you. If you got him, your ego don't back down from nobody. He like the honey badger. He looked for a fight. He just ready to go. Okay, that's your ego. Watch this. But once you control it, once you harness it, it was at. Now down here. Okay, here you got put them down. There you go. Now, this is strongly symbolized. You got that tying the knot together. Okay, that's on the other page. So they make amends, okay? They call it truth, so to speak. Why? That's balance. Again, you know your ego. It don't run you. You control the ego with what? Your higher self. Now that's balance. Let's go. Let me wrap this up for you. Now here you go right here. Now below you see that they're trying, there is no longer disorder. Excuse me, for the boat of chaos. Right, okay. Now the two divinities, you got Heru and Set. Tying the knot on the other page. I'm gonna show you that in a minute. That's the thing. Now, tying there is no longer disorder, but rather what? Balance, aka Maya, and unity and power. Again, I use my ego to do what I need to do. Okay. Here, there is a separation from Set and Neptet, and the capacity to what? Move upwards, forwards on the what? Spiritual journey towards Asar, Aset, and beyond. You're at the bottom of the tree right now. I'm going to take you up the tree and get you to master every aspect of your character. When you get to the top, you'll know who you are and you will be rewarded. Trust me. They show him protecting. Set protecting the boat of Ra from the forces of entropy, symbolized by Apep, the serpent. That's Ra's natural enemy when he go into the underworld. When the sun go down in the west, it got 12 hours of darkness. Again, you got the war, light and dark. Who's winning the war? Right now, light is winning. But darkness is waiting for him. Oh, you come in, yeah, you got away, but I'll be right here again. And it's an ongoing battle, conceptually. Let's get this concept right here. Wrap it up. Yeah, oh, it's still too long. This is Heru and Set tying the knot of what? Higher and lower self. It's called Sema Heru Set. The image above is the rendition of the concept of reuniting Heru and Set, demonstrating peace between the two adversaries. The divinities representing virtue Heru and vice Set actually make peace, and in so doing, format a sema or a union. They tie the lotus and the papyrus plants, upper and lower Egypt respectively, higher and lower self, tying the knot, making amends. In the same manner, the aspirant you who wants to what? Overcome who? The vices, your ego, needs to what? Engender a movement toward what? Virtue, raising your consciousness. Ooh, this is perfect. This allows you, your personality to what? Be purified. How you purify your personality? Do the right thing. Raise your conscious level. Don't be spiteful, disrespectful, nasty. This allows the personality to be purified, and the lower nature is what? Subdued. Your lower nature will give in to your higher nature if you make it happen. And then the true essential being, which is Heru in you, will emerge shining brightly. the illuminated one, okay, the individual and all who come into contact with him or her, you. This tying of the knot is also a form of what? Hotep, supreme peace within oneself. The uniting of two opposite aspects, good and evil, into a unitary whole in the special iconograph of Heru Set presented earlier. The two personalities represent as the head of Heru and Set in the one body of Heru. This is to realize that Set is not an external entity, but rather an outgrowth of your own personality, and he is an appendage created by who? Your own egoism that we must control and eventually master. Hope you got the lesson. Hope it makes sense. Hope you become Heru. That's what we do. I'm here to help you.